Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network for Tuesday, April 6th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and momentarily we'll have Jimmy Murphy alongside as well as we're ready to break down the Tuesday NHL card, a big one. So let's get right to it. It is a big slate. We'll start with the Buffalo Sabres and the New Jersey Devils. New Jersey, minus 155, home favorites. The total 5.5, shaded to the under in this game. Obviously, the Buffalo Sabres have had a rough go, but little pulse, a little life, a little energy, a little something from the Buffalo Sabres, at least the last few games. I think we're starting to see that from them. They beat the Flyers last week to snap that ugly losing streak. They have a chance to beat the Rangers in an overtime, but fall short 3-2. And then they come back and they beat the Rangers 3-2 in a shootout on Saturday. So all of a sudden, here's the Buffalo Sabres, going 2-1 in their last three games. And to be honest with you, they could be 3-0. In their last three games. Because remember, they collapsed against Philly in the first game that they lost to the Flyers, where they had that 3-0 lead, blew the game, and lost in overtime. The bottom line is the Sabres have perked up. The last week, they've been ultra competitive. They've been right in games. They've started to win a couple of games, and that's something that I like going into this game. No Taylor Hall tonight. The big news, of course, that the Sabres holding him out of the lineup is due to the fact that likely a possible trade is coming down the pike for Taylor Hall. Not sure who would want him. I sure as hell wouldn't, but someone would apparently. But nevertheless, it looks like he is being held out of the lineup for a potential trade. I don't think that's some great loss. It's like, wow, we can't win. We can't compete without Taylor Hall. He's been, can't find him with a telescope on the ice in a lot of games this year for the Buffalo Sabres. I don't think that's that big of a dramatic loss by any stretch of the imagination. They do have a couple, still have Eichel out. I get it. Curtis Lazar is out now. Dylan Cousins out now, but the effort's been solid. New Jersey, struggling to find ways to win. They battled the Capitals pretty tough on the weekend, but they fell behind early. They actually scored the first goal, but couldn't sustain it. They fell behind by a couple of goals and tried to battle back, but just not enough to get over the hump and win that game against Washington. But we're talking about two teams that are obviously struggling. And you've got one team laying minus 150, New Jersey. Hell, Buffalo's played pretty well against New Jersey this season as well. They've actually managed to really be a tough out for the Devils. I'm on Buffalo here. Yeah. I'm on the Buffalo Sabres here. Plus 135 to plus 140. Taylor Hall, who gives two shits that he's out of the lineup? Nope. The bottom line is the rest of the team is playing hard. They're starting to compete a little bit more. Casey Middlestad, I think, has played well lately. Reinhart, Olofsson, have gotten them some offense in recent games. Even Kyle Okposo and Tage Thompson, I should say, has hit the score sheet in recent games for the Sabres as well. So I like the effort we're seeing under Don Granato, the interim coach, these last few games. I'll look toward Buffalo here at the plus price. Alex, what's your thoughts here? Sabres and Devils.
I want nothing to do with this game. These are two ugly teams headed towards the bottom of the division. He said Buffalo has played New Jersey well. Buffalo has lost 10 straight on the road, where New Jersey has lost 14 of the last 16 at home. Price-wise, I would either, if you like Buffalo, obviously take them money line. If you lean toward New Jersey, you can get a better price adjusted in regulation, but I'm just going to stay away from this one altogether.
All right, we've got the Pittsburgh Penguins and the New York Rangers. Rangers minus 125, home favorites, total 6, shaded to the over. I'm on the Rangers here at minus 120. I like, they're off the loss in the shootout to Buffalo, and yeah, that's going to look pretty bad. But the Pittsburgh Penguins, I could see them starting to, on the road, let's be honest, they haven't been quite as good as they've been at home, the Pittsburgh Penguins. That concerns me a little bit. And the New York Rangers are starting to, their offense since Artemi Panarin's been back has been great. Zibanejad's been excellent. They've gotten Chris Kreider and Adam Fox on the blue line, getting him back. That guy's a really good defenseman. Adam Fox is going to have a nice career for the New York Rangers in the NHL. I've been impressed with his game, puck moving, ability to chip in offensively from that blue line. Really good stuff from him. And Igor Shesterkin, hey, he's red hot right now. He's playing some good performance from him in net lately. I don't love the fact that Jari's in net off an injury. That always concerns me, that first game when you're returning from an injury. Pittsburgh, again, really good run. A lot of the wins have been at home. A little bit of a home road dichotomy type team they've been this year, the Pittsburgh Penguins. So I'm on the Rangers here, minus 120, minus 125. Very, very heavy over-trending series history with the Rangers and the Penguins, but Pittsburgh's really been digging in defensively. I could see them doing that after the 7-5, Wild West shootout loss to the Boston Bruins over the weekend. And I like the way the Rangers are not only playing better defensively, but Shesterkin and net's been good. So That's what's keeping me off the over. Normally, I bet an over with the Rangers against the Penguins, but not this time. For me, just the Rangers here, minus 120. Alex, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, I like the Rangers money line as well. I wouldn't play this in regulation because these two teams do have a tendency to play close enough to where we've seen some of their games go past 60 minutes. And like you said, if you like the over, I would say wait and play it in game, maybe get an adjusted price around 5.5. I could see this one going just slightly over, but at 6, I don't really like it that much. Like you said, Sirkin playing well. Tristan Jarry, he was looking good before the injury, so like I said, it remains to see how he'll be in his first game back. But I think this is a good spot for New York. And Pittsburgh dealing with a bunch of injuries. Brandon Tanev had to be put on the IR now, so the injury bug keeps hitting this Pittsburgh team, and it's going to have to hurt them at some point.
Yeah, I mean, they've done a yeoman's work with all the guys out. Bluger, Kapanen, Malkin, Tanev. I mean, that's a lot of artillery up front that is out of the lineup here for this Pittsburgh Penguins team. And they've gotten, everything they could ask for out of Crosby and Gensel and Rust, and Jared McCann has stepped up. And you've seen even Evan Rodriguez in a depth center role chip in a little bit as well. But I think that can only keep going for so long here. I like the Rangers here at home in this one. A lot of injuries to overcome for the Penguins. Tampa Bay, Columbus. We've got the Lightning minus 210. Road favorites, total 5.5, shaded to the under. It's just snowballing on the Columbus Blue Jackets right now. I mean, it's just they can't get out of their own way. I think they've lost 7 of their last 8 or 8 of their last 9. It's been an absolutely rough go for the Jackets. They get absolutely smoked by the Florida Panthers in back-to-back games over the weekend, 5-2, and then a 3-0 loss in the rematch. Just a dreadful run for the Columbus Blue Jackets. The offense is lifeless. Patrick Laine's done diddly squat, jack shit, jack squat, whatever you want to say. I've talked about that ad nauseum. What is he now? 1 goal in 20 games now and counting for this Columbus team. That's hard to fathom. The guy's brought in here to be an offensive force. He's not scoring. That's the one thing he can do, score goals. He's not doing that. And he thinks his game's fine. His coach and his GM are saying he's got to dig for the puck, battle for the puck more than he does, go in the corners, go to the front of the net more often than not. And he says, no, my game is just getting the puck sent to me and shooting. That's great, Patrick. Way to go. Way to really dig in and get things done for your team. Outstanding work ethic. Outstanding. Just I'll do whatever it takes to help you guys. It's a mess. He's tuned out Tortorella, and I think Tortorella's had it with him. And it's really splintering, I think, the dressing room inside. I really believe that. I think that it's a frayed, tense dressing room right now. It's not a happy one because you're losing every single game. I mean, there's just all kinds of problems right now with this Columbus team. And you've got the Tampa Bay Lightning I'm really, really mad I didn't bet anything on Detroit Sunday against Tampa Bay. Knowing they were down to Christopher Gibson, called up from the AHL in net with Curtis McElhinney ailing, and of course they rested Andre Vasilevsky. I figured it could be a little bit of a flat spot for Tampa. It sure was. I mean, they were flat as could be against the Detroit Red Wings, who won decisively in that Sunday afternoon game against Tampa Bay. But you would expect a bounce-back effort here from the Lightning in this game. They've always been a team that I'm very, very interested, at the very least, when it comes to betting on them following a loss. And that wasn't just any ordinary loss. That was a pretty much a decisive, we got our ass handed to us by, of all teams, one of the worst teams in the NHL, the Detroit Red Wings. So I would expect Tampa Bay to be better. It still concerns me, Alex, that they're banged up a little on the blue line. They've had some injuries back there, and they really haven't been as good on the blue line with some of these guys out. Eric Chernak out of the lineup due to injury, on Ruda as well. But they did get Ryan McDonough back recently from injury, which definitely helps for this Lightning team, key blue liner for them. And it's not like Columbus has any sort of chemistry or any sort of confidence offensively right now in recent games with what we've seen, or I should say what we haven't seen from them at the offensive end. So I'm on Tampa Bay here. I'm going to go a little safe in regulation, minus 135. The puck line, I wouldn't talk anyone out of that either for a little more value, but I'm just going to play it a little bit more safer because I've seen Tampa Bay win a lot of these games by exactly 1 goal lately, and I could see that being the case here. So Tampa in regulation here, minus 135. Alex, what's your thoughts here? Lightning, Blue Jackets.
I like that too, and you can shop around. I was able to grab a minus 120 at one offshore book. So definitely shop around for that. But I like Tampa in regulation too. This is something that we use more often in football or college basketball than in hockey. But you have a double revenge situation. You got Tampa Bay coming off of a big blowout loss in their last game against Detroit, but they also lost the last meeting against this Columbus team a while back too. I think they're really going to be amped up here to get a win. Like I said, Columbus has lost 7 of their last 8. They've been held to 2 goals or fewer in 5 of their last 6 games. Like I said, this offense is just kind of free falling along with everything else for Columbus. Where Tampa Bay, they have some issues on the back end, but their offense is more than healthy and accommodated enough to take care of business alone. So I like Tampa Bay in regulation. Like I said, shop around. I got minus $1.20, but I like it all the way up to minus 30, 35 as well.
All right, we're both liking the Lightning here in regulation. Dylan Turner in the chat, Tampa first period. Yeah, the puck line option on first period. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily argue with that. Columbus did get out of the first period, no score with Florida, though, and they really play tight early in games, Columbus, defensively. So that's why maybe you get this game tied in the first period, and that's why I worry a little about the first period puck line, and I prefer regulation full game.
Columbus has gone under the first period in 5 straight games, and also without a goal in the first 10 minutes in their last 5 games. So even though Tampa has the propensity to score at will, I don't think it's going to be a lot early. So you might be able to find even better adjusted prices if you like the side or total betting again.
Yeah, absolutely. Good point. It might be one of those games where if you're interested at all and thinking the game will open up and goals wait, maybe you get a sluggish first period, which is, again, as Alex alluded to, it's been the pattern with the Columbus Blue Jackets. No question about that. All right, Boston, Philadelphia. By the way, the regulation line, I'll mention why I feel it's safer with Tampa Bay. Look at the Winnipeg-Ottawa game last night. Man, am I thanking my lucky stars I said that I took Winnipeg regulation instead of the puck line. Could you imagine that? They're up 4-1. Ottawa gets those 2 goals in the third period. It ends 4-3, and you don't get the empty netter from the Winnipeg Jets. So this time of year, especially, Alex, you've talked about it recently on the show with me here about there's so many 1-goal games. There's so many tight games. Somehow, some way, these games end up pretty competitive, pretty close when it's all said and done. Makes it tricky. Makes it hard to lay puck lines minus 1.5 right now.
It's been the last 3 seasons where I've never seen this many empty net goals missed. In the 90s, you had tight games, but when there was an empty net, it seemed like 90% of the time they were going to convert that goal to give that 2-goal lead. And I remember, back in the early, 2010s, I was making money left and right betting, laying the puck line. These days, you just can't do it now because the teams, they aren't trying to go for that empty net because if they miss it, it's an automatic icing. Face-offs back in their zone. So they're just trying to dump it along the boards, let it go, in just crossing into the opposing zone. They're not going for those empty net goals. So it's really risky now, like I said, and especially it's all about points at this point for most of these teams. So like I said, if they get into overtime, they'll take that and take their chances in the overtime of the shootout. So those 1.5s, don't want to lay them. You may be able to take them with some really bad teams late too. Like we talk about, Buffalo, some of those teams start looking like they have some energy, late in the season, kind of want to disrupt one of the top teams in the league. Maybe you get a good price with a plus 1.5, but I'm not laying any puck lines now until probably the playoffs.
Yeah, it's not that I don't like, and someone in the chat saying, you really don't like Patrick Laine. It's not that I don't like him. I don't like his game right now. It's terrible. He should be a lot better than he is right now, and he should be willing to work a lot more than he does for what's expected of him, what he's getting paid. But hey, that's he's got to be willing to put in that commitment. I just find it hilarious that he said, this is my game. I'm not. What he said is, I'm not changing. He said, it's get the puck given to me. Someone gives me the puck, passes the puck to me, and I shoot it. That's my game. He's basically saying, I'm not changing. He's acting like I'm the perfect player. I'm as good as I can be. There's nothing wrong. I'm great. I'm perfect. There's nothing wrong with my game. Could you imagine if, and yet he's gone 1 goal in his last 20 games, and he still thinks, wow, this is my game. It's perfect. There's nothing that needs to be fixed. Could you imagine if I come through a 2-10 night on the betting board, and I say, well, there's nothing I can do to improve. I'm as good as I can be coming off 2-10 on the betting board. Could you imagine if I said that? Nobody's going to listen to that. Nobody's going to think anything of me for saying something like that. It's unacceptable. 2-10. He should think that way about 1 goal in 20 games. What's so different about him?
Laine is basically the hockey version of Keyshawn Johnson. Pass me the damn ball. That's what it seems like. And like I said, that kind of mentality isn't going to work wherever you are. but especially not in Columbus, and especially not with a coach like John Tortorella. So, that's a bit concerning for that franchise because, the way that things are going with Columbus, they're going to have to break some things apart. But if you were able to keep Laine and sign him to a big deal, make him your franchise centerpiece and build around him, they have that option now and only now. But if you're hearing quotes like that, this might not be the guy you want building a team after. You probably want a little bit, stronger character, stronger willed, and willing to make adjustments for the club, not just himself. So, they might have to part ways with him at the end of the year.
Yeah, it's just hilarious. So this is my game. I get the puck sent to me at passing it. I'm not changing. Yeah, 1 goal in 20 games. That's your game right now. Yeah, 2-10. If I go that on the betting board, yeah, that's my style, to go 2-10 betting the board on a certain night. That's my style. I'm not changing. It's ridiculous to hear stuff like that. It is. Jimmy, we got Jimmy Murphy with us now on the show. Jimmy, welcome in to the show. Good to have you with us again. We've gotten through the first 3 games: Buffalo, Jersey, Pittsburgh Rangers, Tampa, Columbus. What's your thoughts from a betting standpoint with those 3?
Well, as far as the Buffalo Jersey game goes, I'm just wondering who's going to be in the lineup and who might be traded by the time the game starts right now. I mean, a lot of guys getting held out with those teams right now. I know Palmieri will be out. Obviously, Taylor Hall as well. I would say that leans a little towards the under there, guys. And I'm going to pass on the game, but that's a lot. Well, I guess not a lot of scoring in a Taylor Hall sense. But in the Kyle Palmieri sense, what he brings to that offense in Jersey is huge. So I don't see them scoring many goals. I would lean to the under maybe just because both teams are struggling so much. But what I will do is do the under on the Devils team total just because of Palmieri being out.
That is a huge loss. And, of course, Palmieri on the Jersey side. Of course, we mentioned Taylor Hall on the Buffalo side, held out of the lineup due to a potential trade. I think it's an addition by subtraction for Buffalo with no Taylor Hall. You'll get someone that's actually going to compete. Work ethic will be there. And damn, I give a shit is finally going to show up in his position with whoever takes his place tonight for the Buffalo Sabres. All right, so Pittsburgh Rangers, Jimmy. I like Buffalo, by the way, in that game. I took the shot with the Sabres at the plus price tonight. They actually could be 3-0 in their last 3 games, but starting to perk up for Granato there.
Yeah, and really, too, that's a smart bet, Ian, because you think about the fact that not only is Palmieri a huge scorer for that team, by all accounts, from people I talked to with the team, he's a big leader in that dressing room, too. So now you're taking that out of the equation. They got a lot of young kids. That can put them all out of sorts when stuff like this happens, or it's sort of like this impending doom, like you're about to lose a huge leader in your room. So, I would say that's a smart bet for sure. As far as the Pittsburgh and Rangers go, I love the over in this one. These guys like to go at it when they play, do a little shinny on the ice there. So I'm all over the over. That's an official play for me.
All right, over for Jimmy. And I lean over, but it's just I like the way Pittsburgh had been, prior to Saturday against Boston, the way they had been playing defensively, and Shesterkin in good form. But, yeah, historically it's been a good over in terms of those 2 teams head-to-head. And Tampa, Columbus. Alex and I both like Lightning in regulation there.
Yeah, I'm going to pass on this one, guys, just because it's one of those games where I start to keep an eye on these ones where, you've got a dominant team facing a team that's just out of it, but at the same time, we've seen so many of those out of it teams drive these much more dominant teams, give them fits down a stretch there and cost them some valuable points. And Columbus seems to have that written all over to me. Like, I don't think they're going to even make any push towards the playoffs here. I think they're going to sell some assets at the deadline, but they're scrappy. They always have been. That's one thing we can't take away from them. You were just talking about Taylor Hall not wanting to play and having no spirit or no will and no drive. That's not the Columbus Blue Jackets, so that's the reason I'll keep an eye on them. I'm just going to pass in this game.
All right, we move on now. Boston, Philadelphia. Good timing for Jimmy to be joining us here to talk about these Bruins. -130, road favorites in Philly, 5.5 the total. I'm going to come right back to the over here in this game with these 2 teams tonight. I mean, it fell short last night, but I think it's going to get there. There were certainly a multitude of chances for both teams. Carter Hart will be back in net. Look, I mean, he was a little bit better against the Islanders in his first start after he had that little time away from the team, but they played really good in front of him. I'm going to need to see more evidence of him having turned his game around. Just not enough using one game that he was a little bit better. I need to see more. And, of course, for Boston, Tuukka Rask out, Yaroslav Halak on the COVID-19 reserve list. Dan Vladar starting last night, so you don't want to put him in on a back-to-back. So it's Jeremy Swayman time in net for the Busts tonight. Good numbers in the AHL. Can he do it in the NHL? I'm always skeptical. Got to show me first if that's the case. So I fell short last night over the total with these two teams. I'm coming back to it. Nothing on the side, but I'm on the over 5.5 here. Boston, Philadelphia here. Alex, what's your thoughts here? Bruins and Flyers.
Yeah, I like this over here as well. You're getting a good price at $1.10. Like saying you get, possibly the debut of Swayman in net. Carter Hart's playing. You know how he's struggled. Also, these two teams have gone over for the last 6 meetings overall, and for the last 6 meetings when playing in Philly. So I definitely can see goals going back and forth. Obviously, 2 points that are desperately needed for both clubs. So should be a fun and spirited game. I like the over.
All right, liking the over here in this one between the Bruins and Philadelphia Flyers. There we go. We got our background back. We're gonna fix the logo. You're right. We can't have Alex's face covered up like that. So yeah, we're gonna work on it. We're gonna put it on the bottom of the screen. We want to put the DraftKings promo code on at all times during the show. But yeah, we'll put it in a situation where we'll make sure we can put that on the corner of the screen as well. Jimmy, what do you think here? Boston, Philly.
Well, I'm saying we already got a little DraftKings there, so we'll compensate for now, guys.
Yeah,
this
there you
game,
go.
I would think that I immediately thought over when I woke up today and I started looking at this game and thinking about a lot of the meetings they've had. But at the same time, I remember going over on Dan Vladar's start a couple weeks back, or now actually we're going back about a month almost, when he went in against Pittsburgh and made 34 saves in a 2-1 Bruins win.
Yeah, they dug deep for him. They did. I remember.
Yeah, and I kind of get the feeling this is one of those spots for the Bruins, especially coming off that loss last night, especially knowing that, the more Bruce Cassidy talks about it, this could be their tandem for at least the next few games. I mean, Tuukka on the trip, but I don't see him getting in on this trip. Who knows? Maybe Saturday at the earliest. But, knowing that, the Bruins have to start to adjust to that, and they're going to want to, like you said, buckle it down, tighten up the neutral zone there. I like the under in this. I really do. And then the other reason I'm going to Philly's side is Carter Hart. I mean, this guy's due. It's kind of make it or break it. He's had his little mental break. He's probably done a lot of video watching. He's going to come back. We know the kid's made it. He's a highly touted goalie. He can't be this bad. So my feel is maybe this is a night where we get a nice little goaltending duel in Philly.
It's there's good reasoning for that. I will admit that. Hopefully not, but we'll see. Boston, Philadelphia under 5.5. Yeah, exactly. Boston, Philly under 5.5. I lean Bruins here after they lost last night.
Yeah,
tough
I
one.
would too.
I think they bounced because they did win that start. Remember, first start for Vladar, they won it against a very good Pittsburgh team, and so I would lean a little to the Bruins here as well. You can get them around -130, but I'm going to stick with that over. Hope for the best.
Guys, quickly, too, it would be a great – I mean, Alex loves to do it. This would be great in-game betting, I think. Once you start to see where these goalies are at mentally and if they're making those good stops or even the easy stops in Carter Hart's sake lately. But, just watch that and get a feel for where these goalies are at, because I think both teams really are going to rally around their goalies here if they give them something to rally around.
No doubt. Definitely good things to consider here. Washington Capitals, New York Islanders. Islanders -125 to -130. Home favorites, the total 5.5 across the board here. Remember, I was on Washington in this building just recently, and they just got wiped out by the Islanders. And I'm not in a rush to get back to Washington here. I initially leaned Washington here, but I'll tell you what, they're still giving up too many chances, too many shots, too many quality looks. The goaltending from Samsonov and from Vanacek hasn't been quite as sharp lately. The Islanders took it to them in that game. I think Washington will definitely be looking to fire back strong tonight with a much better game, but I'm not as in a hurry to back the Capitals as I was last week when I paid the price for it. What I am going to go with is the over here, because the Islanders are on an incredible oversurge at home. Unbelievable how they've been trending over the total on home ice. Washington's leaky defensively. The Islanders, even without Lee, they showed against the Capitals last week they could find the back of the net. Beauvillier's been excellent lately offensively. Jordan Eberle's picked it up. Matthew Barzal has been terrific of late as well for the Islanders. They've got some other guys that have stepped up in the absence of their captain. Washington's always a threat to score, and it's not like Semyon Varlamov in net for the Islanders has been as good lately. He's kind of fighting the puck a little bit with Backstrom, Oshie, Kuznetsov, Ovechkin, all in good form offensively right now for this Washington team. They should be able to contribute some offense here as well. So nothing on the side, but do like over 5.5 with Washington and the New York Islanders. Alex, Capitals, Islanders.
Yeah, I lean with the over 5.5. Like you mentioned, Islanders finally getting some solid offense, and Washington's always good to score. They've gone over 5 in their last 7 games, but I worry a little bit because of how high scoring this affair was the last time before out, where they said 8-4 final. I think both teams are kind of going to be focused more defensively, especially early in the game, to make sure that it won't be a goal fest like it was in that timeout. So I lean with the over, but it's not going to make my card. There's other plays I like.
All right, just to lean to the over, nothing officially. Jimmy, what do you think here with the Caps and the Islanders?
I'm with you, Ian. I love the over in this, and I'll actually get even more specific on that over and make it an official. Is the first period over in this game? These two teams do war when they get together, and they know they're the beasts of the East right now, and they're the teams to beat. And I think this is those type of games you want to play in if you're both teams as you head into the playoffs and you start to gear up for that, to test where you're at, and go against the best. So I see a back and forth game for this one as well, but I'll stick with the first period over.
All right, like in the first period over specifically in this one with the Capitals and the Islanders. That's definitely one of the games of the night for sure. This is pretty right there with it. Florida and Carolina. It should be a dandy. Two of the top teams battling for first place in the Central Division right now. We've got Carolina minus 155, home favorites here. The total 6 pretty much across the board in this one. The Florida Panthers, I got to give them just a ton of credit. No letdown, no decline in their game, really, in the absence of Aaron Ekblad from that awful injury he suffered last weekend against Dallas. They have just found a way to keep their head down, keep playing. They have gotten, solid defensive play from everybody else. I mean, I give them credit defensively when you've seen what they've been able to do. Yandel stepped up. Uyghur's been excellent. Strawman steady as can be on that blue line, one of their better stay-at-home defensemen. And up front, Alexander Barkov, look, he is showing you why he was named captain. This guy's been excellent, absolutely outstanding on the ice. Offensively, his two-way game, guys, that doesn't get talked about enough. He's excellent away from the puck. He cares. He competes away from the puck. The Finn is having an outstanding season. He's definitely living up to why he was named the captain. He's been excellent. Hornquist, Carter Verhaeghe's been good. Huberdeau, of course. And how about Alex Wenberg? And it must have pissed off the Columbus and Tortorella specifically, that he couldn't get Alex Wenberg to play consistently and produce for him in Columbus. And here he is lighting up his former team now as a member of the Florida Panthers over the weekend. So Alex Wenberg, who's always had the skill, who's always had the ability. He's kind of had a little Patrick Laine in him, believe it or not. A little lazy at times, not exactly fighting to get loose pucks. All of that has been a problem for him in the past, but he's found a home here in Florida, and he's playing well right now with the Panthers. On the flip side, you got Carolina, coming off a split over the weekend against the Dallas Stars. Peter Mrazek being back in net for the Hurricanes now, returning from injury. No rust whatsoever for him in net. He was outstanding in the first start for him against the Dallas Stars. So that's a good sign for Mrazek moving forward. He's confirmed in net. Bobrovsky for the Florida Panthers will start for them tonight. It's a tricky game. I would rather sit back and watch it. Florida has been excellent. I would lean to the plus price with the Panthers, but the one issue about them post-Ekblad injury, guys, impressive as they've been, Detroit, Columbus were the teams they played. And Columbus, of course, is reeling like any other, as much, if not more, than any other team in the NHL right now. So that's the problem. This is a step up now for this Florida Panthers team post Ekblad from Detroit and from Columbus. We'll see if they're ready for it. Should be a good one. I'm not involved in it either way, side or total in this one. Alex, what do you think? Florida, Carolina.
I like the regulation draw here. I was able to grab it at a plus 330 price, which I think is great, yes, considering that 3 of the last 4 meetings have gone into overtime, and usually in comeback fashion. You've seen one team jump out ahead and the other one come back and tie it up late. So this is a spot. I don't want to go against Florida sidewise the way they're playing right now. They're on a nice little run. And like you said, Mrazek, looked sharp in the first start out, but sometimes you wonder, like you said, with those goalies coming back from long injuries, it may take, it could be 1 or 2 games, and then all of a sudden we see them kind of fall apart. So that, I don't want to take a shot either way on the side, but I'm just going to play this regulation draw. I can definitely see this one being another tight contest that goes past 60 minutes.
I wouldn't argue with that. I might even put a couple bucks on that too. The draw. This seems like a 1-goal game either way. They've played a lot of competitive games, a lot of close games, some overtime games this year as well. Florida and Carolina. That draw is a good thought there, Alex. Draw at plus 330. Definitely, I could see this one being a tight game. Jimmy, what do you think? Florida, Carolina should be a good one.
I'll tell you, I love the over in this. These guys tend to go over, I think, 4 of the last 5, I think I saw. So, I like the over in that, but that's a great bet as well, Alex. I think, like we're going back to that other game there where you get 2 contenders going head-to-head right now trying to establish ground as they go down the stretch here. They know that. And I think Florida, the last time, if you remember, what is it, about a month ago, where people were starting to catch on to Florida and really hyping them, and then they fell flat. I think they're starting to hype them again, and I think the Panthers know that, and they want to prove that they're not just some mirage. They're for real. So I like the over in this, and I could definitely see a draw.
You liking the all right, Jimmy, liking the over in this game between Florida and Carolina. I would lean to that way from a total standpoint too. I don't know why I'm hesitant on that. I bet a lot of these Florida Carolina games over this year, but with the 6 instead of the 5.5, with Mrazek looking so good on Sunday, and even Florida, I mean, they've been very, very good defensively of late. I think they've even dug down even deeper defensively without Ekblad, trying to prove that, hey, we can still keep the puck out of our own net without him. So I think that's all played into it. But definitely there have been some overs with those 2 teams throughout the season. Nashville, Detroit. We've got Nashville minus 155. Road favorites, total 5.5 shade to the under. I wouldn't argue with anyone taking Nashville. They're certainly playing well. No question about that, finding ways to win, trying to make this push for the playoffs. Like, look, all of a sudden, they're a team that's making a push for a playoff spot, and they played like it. They do have a couple injuries, though, you want to be aware of going into this game. Philip Forsberg is still day-to-day. Now Victor Arvidsson is out. They're already without Borowiecki and Ellis on the blue line and Spiza on the blue line as well. Duchesne's on the IR. So there's a lot of key cogs out for Nashville. But, hey, Eli Tolvanen has been outstanding of late for this team. Kalle Järnkrok has been good in recent games, giving them a little bit of scoring punch. Yossi and Ekholm, obviously, on the blue line are healthy again. They're still finding ways to win. And finally, UC Saros is playing great in net for this Nashville team. So, yeah, I'm definitely do not have any interest betting against Nashville right now. But with the injuries, the price is pretty rich. Now we'll see what Nashville's made of. You're expected to win. You're now being priced as high as you've been in a very long time, minus 155. Road favorites here tonight in this game. Lean Nashville in regulation, but I'm going to pass on it. Alex, what do you think here? Predators, Red Wings.
I'm actually going to take a shot here with this first period over. You can get it at plus $1.05 or plus $1.10 if you shop around. 5 of the last 8 meetings have gone over in the first period. And this was a series that Detroit for years had dominated, but now the tide had turned, and Nashville's won 5 of the last 7 meetings, and obviously they're still in good form. They had that loss to snap their streak against Dallas, dropped 4-1. They came right back and played Chicago, shut them out 3-0 in a game where they pretty much didn't have to do much of anything. The Hawks kind of sleptwalked in that game. So I think, like I said, they're still, trying to make that push for the playoff spot. And then, that's the way I would be leaning if I had to play a side. But I like this first period over a bit more, especially at a plus price.
All right, over 1.5 at a plus price here with the Nashville Predators, Detroit Red Wings in the first period. Jimmy, Nashville, Detroit.
I'm going to go with the same thing. I like that as well. And, good points on Nashville there too. Still trying to figure out what they're going to do here in the coming week, guys, but they have been interesting to watch for sure. And I think, not only have they changed the trade market in the NHL, I think they've changed the betting market as well.
Exactly. But now we're not sure if this team's going to be sellers again at the trade deadline, which we thought for sure. Lock, stock, and barrel. Nashville is just, putting the for sale sign up on the front lawn and ready to give away Arvidsson and Granlund and Ekholm. And those were the 3 big guys on this Nashville team rumored in trades. And now you're not so sure. And David Poile, for a GM that's used to competing in the playoffs, used to, winning every year, you got to try to convince that guy, give up on the season, sell off when you're right there in the mix to make the playoffs. So that's not going to be an easy sell job. And I could see Poyle hanging on to all these assets and actually trying to make the playoffs now at this rate. I'm not sure if it's good for the franchise long term. I don't think it is, but hey, it's hard to convince a guy that's been winning as long as David Poyle is consistently year in and year out as a general manager to just all of a sudden try to convince him, hey, don't go for it this year. Think about the long-term process. What long-term process? He's an older GM anyway. There is no long-term future for him probably as a general manager with the Predators. So interesting to see how they play it going into next Monday's trade deadline. We've got the Dallas Stars and the Chicago Blackhawks. Dallas minus 115, road favorites here, total 5.5, shaded the under. Dallas said this was a make-or-break road trip for our season. They put emphasis on it going in. They split with Nashville. They split with Carolina. Nashville playing good hockey. Carolina's obviously had a great season. So to split with both of those teams is actually not bad here for the Dallas Stars. I lean to Dallas here at minus 120 in this game a little bit against Chicago. I think the Blackhawks are slowly but surely fading a little bit. Not a very good result for them Saturday against Nashville. Oh, Nashville's losing guys left and right to injury in that game, and Chicago still can't do anything about it against the Nashville Predators on Saturday. So I think these are two teams going in opposite directions a little bit. Dallas, for me, would be the side I'd look at, minus 115 in this one. Alex, what do you think here? Stars taking on the Blackhawks?
I'm going to pass on this game. I mean, the Hawks looked like shit on Saturday. The game was absolutely awful to watch. And even though they've played well against Dallas, they've won 6 of the last 9 meetings. And it's Kevin Lincoln in the net who's been the MVP without question. I mean, it's him and Patrick Kane pretty much as co-MVPs of this club this season. So hard to fade him personally, especially against the Dallas team that we've seen lay more eggs than not this year. So I'm just going to stay away from it altogether.
All right, a pass for Alex here. Jimmy, what do you think? Dallas, Chicago?
Same. I'm passing on this. I have absolutely no feel on it for some reason.
All right, nothing wrong with that. So on we go. Anaheim, San Jose. Yeah, it's a tough one. I said I was going to back Dallas a few times on this road trip, and I took them. And off the loss on the road trip, they've been perfect so far. They lost the first game to Nashville, bounced back and won. And then they won against Carolina in the first game. They lost the second game, but Mrazek was pretty good. I think they bounced back here. Price is not terrible, minus 110, minus 115. So that's why I like Dallas a little. I like their form a little bit better right now as well. Anaheim, San Jose. We've got the Sharks. Final game on this slate. San Jose minus 170 to minus 175 home favorites. The total 5.5 shaded to the over in this game. John Gibson, of course, returning to the net for the Anaheim Ducks the other night against Arizona. Expected to see him back. San Jose, I mean, what a run it's been for the Sharks. They have just found their game. Martin Jones has found his game. They've never had issues scoring goals. They've had nice seasons offensively from Logan Couture, Evander Kane, Timo Meier, Tomas Hertl, Kevin Labanc. They've got forwards that can put the puck in the net that have done that. But here's the issue now. San Jose is minus 170. That's the issue for me. Now you're expected to win. Now you're favored. Now you're expected to beat teams. Let's see if you can keep it up. Sometimes you've taken teams by surprise, like Minnesota. Maybe they look past you a little bit. Now you're expected to win. Can you keep this up if you're the San Jose Sharks? And look, Martin Jones has been good. He's back in net right now. A lot of those good starts have been against his former team, the LA Kings, but you also can't deny he was very good in those games. We'll see if he can do it outside of playing the Los Angeles Kings here, Martin Jones in net, but he has played better in recent games. There's no denying that. That's why Bob Bugner is rolling with him in most games now in between the pipes. And Anaheim, I just don't know if I fully trust them here in this game. Offensively, it's still very, very hit or miss with them. They've still got a ton of injuries as well. Up front, Troy Terry's out. Ryan Getzlaf is day-to-day. Ricard Raquel is on IR. Now they put Sam Steele on IR. It is a riddled team. And, of course, I've mentioned already, Hampus Lindholm out due to injury as well. And the defense has really hurt them a little bit on the back end as well. Raquel and Getzlaf are still expected to be out indeed. Someone asking in the chat about that. For the Sharks, Matt Nieto on IR. But he's been out for a while, and Vlasic remains out. But definitely more injuries and a shorthanded Ducks team, no question. So I would only look San Jose, but this is just not at all the price I'm interested back in the Sharks. Maybe the over. I'll get there with that. We'll see. Over 5.5 minus 115. That would be the thing I'd be closest to betting here with this game between the Ducks and the Sharks. Alex, what's your thoughts here with Anaheim, San Jose?
Well, I've been riding this for a while. As many of you know, obviously first period overs are a specialty of mine, and the Western Division has been the area to bet these first period totals. And Anaheim's one of those teams. They're 8-2 in their last 10 going over in the first period. Even with John Gibson coming back, he was giving up some rebounds, and Arizona was able to find the net a couple of times in that first period. So that's what I'm going to be going at here. You can get it around the $1.05 or $1.10. So I think it's as high as minus $1.15, but I like it with anywhere in that pick 'em price range. Go with the Ducks and Sharks over in the first period.
All right, over 1.5 first period. And you're right, Alex posted some trends for certain teams. Anaheim, Colorado, a couple of those teams that have been heavy trending to the first period over lately. Ducks definitely have been one of those teams. And that's probably what I'll do tonight. Like the overs I like Boston, Philly, Washington Islanders, and this game here, Anaheim, San Jose, I'll probably split the first period over, full game over, just like I did last night. It worked out pretty well. Most of those games that went over for the full game also went over in the first period. So we'll see if that continues tonight. Jimmy, what do you think here? Anaheim, San Jose.
I like that as well. I would definitely split that, and I think I will. I'll make that an official one as well, just like you. But another thing I would look at too is it's hard to, I didn't think 2 weeks ago I'd be saying this seems like a trap game for the San Jose Sharks, but they are winning. And like you said, the odds makers are catching on too. You're not getting as much value right now, and it just seems like one of those spots. You got Gibson coming back, could kind of rally the troops in Anaheim there, and it just seems like a trap to me. So I'm going to also play the Ducks on the money line as an underdog in this.
All right, going for the big dog. Yeah, let's prove it. Almost like a prove it game, right, Jimmy? Prove that you should be minus 170 favorites. I know you're playing better, but when the hell's the last time San Jose's been favored by this much? We haven't seen it all year. So let's see if they can withstand the expectations of being the team you would think going into it is the better team on paper, but it doesn't always work that way. Jimmy's going to take a shot here with Anaheim here at the plus price. But definitely we'll give the Sharks credit. We'll see if they can withstand prosperity tonight in this game against the Ducks. All right, great stuff. That is the Tuesday NHL card. We've gotten through every game from a betting perspective. Before we get to best bets, a reminder, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Sign up for an account. Use the promo code THPN. Again, we've got daily NHL and NBA. Baseball is underway. We're going to have the lots going on. There's UFC. There's NFL draft later this month, and I'm sure draft props will be available on DraftKings as well. So a great time. Download that DraftKings Sportsbook app. Sign up for an account. You'll get deposit bonuses, weekly specials, and incentives. Download the DraftKings app. Sign up for an account. Use the promo code THPN. All right, it is time for best bets for this this Tuesday edition, I should say, of the Ice Guys show. Alex, we'll start with you. Best bet for Tuesday night.
Yeah, the game we just talked about, Ducks and Sharks, like that first period over, minus $1.10. He said, Sharks haven't been struggling offensively. It's been their defense and their goaltending that's been spotty at times. And we've seen some defensive lapses with Anaheim, which is the reason why they're 8-2 the last 10 that first period over. So that's going to be my best bet with the first period over with Anaheim and San Jose.
All right, Anaheim, San Jose over 1.5 first period. Alex B. Smith with his best bet. Jimmy Murphy, what do you got lined up? Best bet.
I'm going to go with that under in the Bruins Flyers there. I'll make that my best bet. And I hope, did anyone take Baylor last night or what?
I did not. I took Baylor every game until last night like an idiot.
So one of my buddies, just a good hockey story, I'm talking to him, and he says, take Baylor, man. I'm like, why? I mean, Gonzaga, they won the other night. Their destiny. He goes, no, that's the whole point. This is a complete letdown game. And he referenced back to the 1980 U.S. Olympic team, saying they always said that when they beat Russia, that wasn't the toughest game. They had to play another game, remember, to get gold. Yep, and they said that was the toughest game, fighting that emotional letdown after such a dramatic win. And I think that's what happened to Gonzaga last night.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's definitely some truth to that there was a little bit of a shortfall in the physical and emotional gas tank after that UCLA game. It was just such an emotional game, draining game. It's hard to bounce back from that. But I don't want to chalk it all more up to that. This was more Baylor's just playing great. Baylor was awesome. Yeah. Baylor was outstanding. That's why they won that game. I'm just mad that and look, it's easy to say hindsight's 2020. I get all that, but I was on Baylor every game in this tournament. I took them against Wisconsin and Villanova and Houston And sure enough, I jumped off them and took Gonzaga last night. And what can you do? They deserved it, though, Baylor. No question about that. But great stuff, guys. Great show. My best bet for this card, I'm going to go to the let's see. It's a tricky one to pick a best bet tonight. I don't love the card as much as I liked yesterday. Yesterday I crushed the card. It was a great day for me yesterday with the Monday card. I don't like this one quite as much. I'm gonna go Tampa in regulation here, minus 135. You got smacked down by the Detroit Red Wings. I think they bounce back strong. Columbus is just in a world of hurt. They can't get out of their own way right now. I don't even think being back at home matters a tinker's damn for them right now, the way they're playing. Tampa Bay in regulation for me, minus 135 against Columbus. That'll be my best bet for this Tuesday card. And that'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. We want to remind you that if you can't watch the show live on YouTube Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday at noon Eastern, you can download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. For Jimmy Murphy, for Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will talk to you tomorrow on Wednesday for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by the Hockey Podcast Network.